Tell me what the hell are you scared of when in the end the only
Where's the love? Right here on this podcast. Welcome to Love Drops, where your hosts and One Love ambassadors, Charles and Diane, will share love, hope, and inspirational topics taken from their journey and world events. We will also include on-location recordings and special pop-up guests from cool places all around the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never fails.
Welcome to the Love Drops podcast. We have the opportunity to entertain some very exciting and interesting guests on our show from all over the world. And today is no exception. Getting right into it, Diane, will you please introduce our return guests to our listeners?
Why, sure, Charles, and thank you. Our guest is not only a podcast guest, but he's become a friend over the time we've known him. Most organizations and most people stay comfortable long after they've actually stopped growing. Nick G specializes in strategic stabilization before scale, stepping into that quiet gap where momentum fades before the crisis hits the balance sheet. Nick sees his work as giving a business and its people CPR. It's about resuscitating the vital signs of an operation and pushing leaders out of the safe zone where businesses go to die. His approach is built on a simple reality. Growth is the standard. Culture is the foundation. Leadership is the driver. And business is the impact. This wasn't something he read in a textbook. He lived it, starting on the floor at 18 and working his way up into owning his own dealerships. Nick learned how to stabilize failing systems and breathe life back into teams under extreme pressure. He's a leader who knows that you can't build a business that lasts until you've built the people to handle the heat. I love that. Nick, so good to have you back on the show. And the mic is yours, my friend.
Well, hey guys, how you doing again? Thank you so much for having us. It's always a pleasure to jump on with you too. Once again, Nick is more than fine. My parents long, 18, 20, 24 letters, Nicholaos Gouvouniotis, out there. Nick G is usually the norm for me on my end. I'm based out of Freehold, New Jersey. I've been here for, quite some time in my life. But, once again, I appreciate you having me on here. And this is a topic that really hits home for me because it's not something, as you said, too, that we just talk about. I live this. And this is something that I live, breathe, and this is the heartbeat of what grows my personal businesses and the ventures that I do outside of my personal industries and stuff.
Wow, Nick. And I appreciate that. And I can attest that you absolutely walk your talk, you live your message, and you not only step out and live outside of the comfort zone, you grow. You grow outside the comfort zone and you do it with such grace that anyone that's watching you feels safe to do the same. It's like you lead by example with your team. You are just willing and able to try new tactics and things, and you do it unapologetically, right? So, Nick, growth outside of the comfort zone, when I say that to you, what resonates? I mean, what comes to mind for you in your life?
Growth outside the comfort zone. One thing is your daily routine. So, if it's outside your daily routine, that's an easy indicator just to put. So if it's outside your daily routine, doesn't matter how big or small, that's growth. And growth starts with the baby steps because not everyone can jump into the deep end of the pool yet. so it makes it a lot easier for it, but it is not something that is done every day. And there's plenty of examples of growth, be regardless of financial wealth or anything like that. It could be doing something that's untraditional that leads into bigger steps in your life later. So, that's growth for me outside your daily zone.
Now, that is great because so many folks out there get on that hamster wheel and just go around and around. And their idea about growth is if it's not broke, why fix it? And they go on, going nowhere fast.
Exactly.
So, how do we help them? Kind of a little CPR for them.
I like the word CPR, and I started using it a long time ago, just because sometimes it bring air back into someone's life and stuff. But the best way to get out of your comfort zone, to move from is first be clear of what you want to do next. What is your next chapter? Because it doesn't matter what age you are in life, there's always a next chapter that you're looking to accomplish. And then instead of taking a bite out of that big pie right off the bat, see what's baby steps you could do that just enough to get your foot in the water to say, okay, it's cold, so I'm not going to jump in yet. Some people love to jump into that cold, water. I think the heat's coming around. I'm using a lot of pool and deep end and water. I think I'm ready to start swimming soon, but it's important to start knowing, being clear of what you want to do next in your life. And once you have that, and then also the one big thing to attach to it is your passion with it. It makes it easier to overcome that comfort zone when you feel that passion, because that's the thriver that pushes you forward. And then that baby step that says, you know what? It's okay. I did this point, this point, this point. So there's nothing wrong with getting a piece of paper out and going old school and writing today, tomorrow, future, things. And that works for me. It works for me a lot.
Yes, that is so amazing. And I know that you have dealerships. So you have auto dealerships. And, in this market now with AI, computers, online purchases, was it Carvana and things like that? There were things that you had to shift. You had to make pivots, even in your businesses, right? To keep up. So, I'm sure there were things that you were comfortable with and successful with. What are some of the things that you had to do in your business to shift and pivot to keep up? But not only just you, Nick, because you're a leader. I mean, you're the owner. So you have people that work for you. So it's not only about you coming out of your comfort zone, you have to get your team to join you. So what are some things that worked for you?
At first, the easiest thing is having my company and my businesses, if it's automotive, real estate, or some of my new adventures that I'm getting involved in, is first to have the company's goals and culture in line. And then from there, the most important is to make sure that if you have a team that's currently there, okay, to get them to understand what the vision is, out of it. Usually too, and not to get too much into the weeds of it, but it's very important about who you hire. When you hire them, you go clearly over what you're planning on doing with your vision, because at the end of the day, if your vision doesn't align with the person that you're hiring, because they're there to try to complete the other half of what you're trying to do, it makes it hard for them because it's an uphill battle when you're trying to get somebody who is not a true believer to understand and say, hey, listen, I'm going to go into this field and I'm going to blah, blah with you for this position and everything. But the best thing to do is any leader of any organization, especially like my groups, is to have a clear picture of what we're trying to do, how we're going to get there, what tools do we need, and what don't we want to lose, out of it and everything. And at the end of the day, everybody that's there, is there for a different purpose. Not everybody takes full ownership of it. Sometimes it's, oh, I love working here, but, it's my job, which I expect. And for them to understand what do they want to accomplish outside of work, that makes them, feel more to say, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do here, but me helping the company get here is going to also allow me to have a great life outside, because I'll reap the benefits of pushing myself forward with all these other things. So I like to get more into the human side, to sum it up, the human side of the person, to say what pushes this person to thrive and allows us to have an instinct and have, of saying, hey, listen, this is going to help you get this. So we're killing two birds with one stone. At the same time, too, the company doesn't get hurt and the person's getting their personal growth. And it builds their passion to get past their comfort zone and be a lot more open-minded, because now they're just not aligning themselves with your company goal. They're aligning themselves with their personal goal of what that company goal is going to get me personally outside of the company.
Yes, that's well said. Well said. And in that statement, it takes me to the next thing, which is your personal comfort zones. Just like with the family, I know you have a beautiful family. Shout out to Vanessa. You guys just celebrated a big anniversary. So,
25
and
years.
that, yeah, 25 years, that's a big deal, big deal. So, just in family, right? How do you lead your family? And not only you lead your family, because your sons are now men. So I'm
Hmm.
sure it goes like back and forth, where you guys are just calling each other out of comfort. So what are some things that you're doing in your personal life that's, pulling you out of that comfort zone?
You know what? I don't want my kids to ever feel tied by age. This is what you have to do. For them, I'm constantly having them explore and find as many different things they want to get themselves into to find exactly what they want to do. It's great when somebody knows, not everybody knows to where they want to be at 20, at 25, at 30. I'm still trying to find myself in my age,
Yeah,
and and to relieve that pressure from them without taking the foot off the pedal at the same time. I have them explore different things of what do you read, what are you into? Not everything could be just entertainment, out of it. So what are you into? And, I push him forward. My eldest left his industry. He was in the RV industry, as a technician. And he's like, I really like, working on, he's always been a smart tech guy. So, he's like, I really want to go back and learn, to work on engineering and software. And, I know he has his son, and everything too. And he's a divorcee. And it's tough. And I said, dude, don't worry about it. Come home, let's map things out and let's put it together. And to get back to school, figure out your son, and but this is more of not of me organizing. There's also too a commitment on my young men over there to say, hey, listen, this is what I want. You have to step forward and say, hey, listen, this is not what I want to see myself doing for X. I want to do this, out of it. So I'm constantly having conversations with my boys and, trying to guide them through different fields and different verticals that I've been involved in to say, hey, this is what I liked. And, and hopefully it's good for you to try different things now in your 20s. So you never feel trapped at all. I don't want them to feel like this is what I have to do. Because an entrepreneur does not have to have one vertical business underneath them. They can have multiple verticals. So it's nice to get your
absolutely.
hands in everything.
No, that is great because what I'm hearing is be the best that you can be and keep it
Yes.
moving forward. That can build anything. And I'm hearing that from you in your personal life and business life, being the best Nick that Nick can be at all times.
Yes. And I am hearing you calling your sons into their authentic self. Like you're saying, hey, you don't have to be stuck. And that is like a beautiful thing when you build businesses, when you create legacies, right? Because then it's not a really safety net, because is there really a safety net when you jump out of your comfort zone, when you grow out of your comfort zone? I truly believe that you grow and you come out beyond that safety net because you're coming into the unknown. So, hey, anything can happen. But because you've created this legacy base and because you've created this comfortable space for your sons as a landing, not to like really cuddle or direct them, it sounds like from what you're saying,
Correct.
but to allow them the breathing room and to allow them the opportunity to not get stuck or not feel like they have to, but they get to, right? So
Mhm.
that's a beautiful thing. And so what are some of the things that you and Vanessa are like growing into for them to see? Because it's one thing to tell our children, our grandchildren, different things, but the real lesson comes from what we do. Like you said earlier, walking that talk. So what are some of the things that you and Vanessa do to just grow outside of your comfort?
One thing that's very important for us is to not base our whole lives around our children. Because at the end of the day, they leave and it's us again. I want to be you guys. I want to be traveling again. We're traveling. It's good to have a partner in crime, you know what I mean? And to be out there. So, one thing, and as I said before, I'm a big small wins are big wins for me type of stuff. So, for us, we spend as much time as we can together, making sure that each one of us feels that we're expanding as, people. And it doesn't, once again, not everything's business-like. It could be whatever in particular, spiritually, anything in particular that you're like, I want more of this, in my
Yeah.
life and to be able to do it. So, that's an important thing for, for Vanessa and I. But, we have a couple of projects right now too, that I ended up purchasing, a new adventure that's
Okay.
actually tied in with my family. So to tie in business and everything like that. And this is the first time of doing something in this type of collaboration. And my wife is the CEO of the company. I'm in a chair advisory council. I guess that's what you call, someone who has an opinion and just for it. But we try to challenge ourselves and making sure that we give each other the respect we need for the growth itself. And hopefully
Yes.
that's a good example that my kids see that, this is a relationship that's, you can argue, get over this and that. And this is how, you last throughout the years by
Yes.
having this type of feel of respecting each other as people, you
Yes, I
know?
love that. I love that.
Yeah, and it is fantastic when you can change roles from the CEO and as in a advisory capacity, and you both continue to go forward. And I've said
Yep.
any number of times that even if you fall on your face, you're moving forward.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Yes.
So here's my question. What's a bucket list item that you and Vanessa have put on your board? Because I'm sure you have some sort of board where you kind of throw those goals. So what is that big bucket list item that you put on that board? And it's so big, it kind of scares you, but in a good way, not a bad fear, but like, whoa, this is huge. Like, I don't know how we'll make this happen, but we're going to do this. What is something on that board?
To consolidate some of my business ventures and have them into a smaller sector that could still keep us ongoing and maintain, which my kids could take over and Vanessa and I could just collect our revenue and go travel. You
Ah,
know?
so
You know,
travel the
so
world. Am I hearing travel the world? Like maybe
Oh,
you,
1,000%. There's so
like
many
maybe,
places we haven't had the opportunity to go, and that's a really a big thing for us. We want to get out there more and be able just to see more of the landscape of different countries. So that's a big thing for us.
that is amazing. And I know that we will have you back again and again and
Yeah.
again because you're just that guest that keeps giving, right? It's just like you wait and then you come back and there's more, right? There's more. And so here's my thing. The reason I asked you that, because growth outside of the comfort zone starts with that first step, right? It starts with that first step. A lot of times we make it more difficult than what it really is. Sometimes it's simply saying, we're going to make this move. So if you want to go around the world, right? Sometimes making that trip in one smooth move is not advantageous, right? So then it's just like you just start picking little places and hitting them and hitting them and hitting them and hitting them, right? And then you start having a lot of places under your belt. What we do, the travels and things that we're now living and doing, it took about 10 years almost just to get to like where we're doing all this international travel. It's just like you kind of build up. It's like you're building up, 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 up. To me, that's a long time. But this is the thing, because you build that foundation over that time, once you start that movement, then you just start going. I say all of this to say that pretty much every single day in every single way, we are growing outside of our comfort zone. We're taking steps beyond. We're going to countries where we don't even speak the language, but you find your way of, like communicating, right? You find the way, you just kind of make the effort. And yes, it can be frustrating or it can be exhilarating. It just depends on how you look at that growth, right? So I saw you graduating. I saw you hooded and, just graduating. So you've grown in your educational development. So as we kind of wrapping it around, tell us about that, because I mean, you're not a old man, but you're not a spring chicken either. So how was that, going back to school?
It's funny. One of my adventures that I was, I'm looking at into purchasing a drug and rehab center in North Carolina with a friend of mine, which is, quite a few group homes and soup kitchens. I needed to get a degree for the state to show, to be able to be licensed, because we're looking, if this adventure goes through, I'm allowed to talk about it now, so if it goes through, we'll see, with everything else. And, we're looking to expand and add more, what's called drug and alcohol abuse and mental health centers around the area and expand from there. So I had to go back to school to get a business degree, which was through ACU in Atlanta. And, for them, they considered underneath, based on my background, a doctor's philosophy degree. It was in business itself. It was really a different feel up there, because I know, for me, I think of some of my buddies when I hear a doctor's degree or anything like that, they're actually medical doctors and stuff. So this was an ACU degree that they have for me to be able to do this business adventure. So there was an open classing, and classes available. We signed up to get as much as possible done before going in front of the state, to be able to get myself sworn in and being able to represent and be part of another great community, of helping people out with drug and rehab centers and mental illnesses, out of it. So it was something that came out of nowhere, that fell on my lap, and the only way I could do it is by go, go, go. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Go get my degree, finish this, doing that, and flying out afterwards and getting everything. And so that part is done. And no, it's great. I got my diploma here on my desk. I know it's hard for you
All
guys,
right.
I see it.
for it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Yes. That's a big deal, Nick. That is a big deal, because what it shows is determination,
Yes.
right? It shows determination in that growth, because somebody else could have seen the same scenario and say, I have to get a degree. I have to go to school. I'm not going to school. I'm not doing that. I'll just find another way. And instead of trying to find another way, you did what you speak about so much. And that is, you did the work. And that is the thing that really aligns my light with your light, because I see you, I see Vanessa, you guys are doing the work. There's so many people right now in society that is talking about everything that is wrong, everything that needs to change, just everything, just chatter, 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 right? And it's like at this season in my life, I'm aligning myself with people that their conversation is the work. Their conversation is the walk. It's not the talk. Like, you don't have to say a thing. There are people that you meet, and you meet them on their journey, being the change, bringing the light, doing goodness, starting ventures, that is going to be more than just about themselves, but a way of giving back. We all see there's a problem, there's toxicity, there's heaviness, there's just all sorts of things going on around us. But here's my thing. What is it that you can control? And how are you taking actionable steps,
Mhm.
right? To do that. And you're going to get that degree. Man, that's determination. Like, I'm like,
Thank
high
you.
five, air high five for
Yes.
real.
So many
Thank you.
people look at the big picture and try to solve it all with one big stroke. But we're seeing that you looked at a situation, addressed it, overcame it, and kept moving. Now, what's next? Bring it on. I'm Nick.
For myself right now, I have a company that's, it's not mine, it's my wife's, chair that's coming up, and that's going to be launched soon within the next few weeks.
Okay.
It's a company that's going to be in multiple verticals. It's going to be in automotive, marine, RV, aviation, and motorsports. So, I saw a problem that needed to get solved within the industry, and that was how to draw customers into these fields by doing it the right way. So, we've decided to create a new world of drawing in customers using not automation, which everyone is hyping up, but live human monitoring of the program. So it's not unsupervised AI that's out there. So, my wife, is focusing her energy and myself helping out of building a team that's going to allow to build audiences to bring in for, to help people, purchase these items across these different verticals. And it's something that we're very excited with, more than just the business itself, more of us working as a family of doing this. And everyone's bringing something different to the table. And it's very exciting, on that portion. So, I shared the link and everything, with you. It's gonna should be done and completed. We're gonna be within United States and Canada, at the moment, and then we'll take our expansion from there. But it's a very exciting moment for us, and I think being the fact that this is one of the first projects that we had all of us collaborate on, I get more excited than anything else of showing up, and now we're building a home base somewhere to where I want my company to, and my employees to come out of, what I mean, to visit.
Yeah.
And it's very, very exciting, so I can't stress it enough. Regardless of all the other things that are involved, that is just one thing that is very, very exciting. So name of the company is going to be called Go to BDC, and it's GO, the number two, and BDC. It's going to have a few different entities to it, from, campaigns to reputation management, and we have a couple of others that we're attaching to this. That's really going to make a great impact amongst those verticals that we're working on right now. So, that's something to look out for. The Gouvouniotis family's coming. So,
All
yeah.
right. I love it. You're creating a legacy, and you're creating a space for your grandson not only to be proud to grow up into, but just where he can grow up into it and continue, continue the legacy. And that, I think, is something really, really special, is when you grow beyond your comfort zone and you invite others to out of theirs, and you are all like growing together. So, your family is growing together out of the comfort zone in this business, and nothing but success is what I send to you. Nothing but success is what I see for you. And just looking forward to sharing it, spreading the word, supporting you any way that, we're able,
Thank
by
you.
just telling other people about it. And as we're just wrapping up, we talked to you before. It's been about over a year now. And you talked about, getting your book together and, just getting your book published. And now I believe you have two books out there available. And I just think that's fantastic. I bought your latest one. I think Vanessa put it out there because she was
Correct.
so proud of you. And so it's just like, well, heck yeah, woman to woman, I got you, girl. It's just like, let's get it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's just a part of it. Is just supporting one another. And I think one thing that is now like out of the comfort zone growth is just building that community, making it take a village, right? Human connection. Who would have thought, right? That human connection would be something that we would have to leave the comfort zone to obtain. But that's what we're, living right now. And I'm not saying in a good or bad way. I'm just saying it as a fact. So appreciate you for just creating all types of environments of human community and action, just dealing with humans, not omitting the AI because, hey, that's here, but not allowing it to control. So
Exactly.
appreciate that.
And also showing what the human connection can do where a foundation is concerned. It will be there. It will grow. It will grow. It will grow. And
Yes.
we're
Thank
certainly
you.
appreciative of you.
Oh, for sure.
Thank
For
you.
sure,
Thank you,
Nick.
guys. That means a lot to me.
Well, you mean a lot to us, so hey,
Yes.
right. So as we come to a close, what love drop do you have to offer the audience as far as growth beyond the comfort zone?
Don't get trapped by one vertical. And by vertical, I mean just because you've been doing something for a long time doesn't mean that's what you have to be doing, out of it. Anybody who knows me, I am a car guy, automotive and dealership world, but that never stopped me from learning more about real estate. Go mess up in life. I mean, at the end of the day, what's the worst that could happen? Go mess up in life, try what you want. We have one big trip around the world, you know what I mean? Around the sun, as they say. Is it the sun, the world, Charles? This is for you to correct me on. We have one trip around and stuff, so to make the best out of it. Don't get trapped anywhere and keep on trying different verticals. There's no age where you can say, hey, listen, this is it, this is what I've been doing. So keep on pushing yourself and the people around you that you love. The best thing you could do for them is allowing them to do what they have to do and be them too, and don't stop them from growing as well. Let them take their trip around the world too. Or son, you didn't correct me yet. I don't know if you want to do it,
Yes.
come on.
No, it's not a right or wrong way. That's why, we're just kind of laughing. It's not a right or wrong way to say it because it's going to land. You say your tomato, you
Yes,
got the
yes.
world, the sun, so you got those groups. So it's going to land both ways. So it's not, yeah, yes, yes, yes. I will say this, I do miss from your perspective, but like you've pivoted because like when I first met you on LinkedIn, you were just giving views and you were just putting perspective on the views that you would give and cartoons and things like that. And I do miss that, but I appreciate just seeing the pivot because it's like you have elevated and soared for that. It's still in the foundation, I'm sure, but it's just like now it's to a new height. And I appreciate that because you get to see the growth, you get to see the expansion, and you get to see that it's just not hamster wheel. Now it's like it's a
Thank you.
year later, and I just see you in a different light, a different space, and it's just like you're soaring. I don't see any slowdown happening either. So that
I
is
got to keep up with you too.
oh, I don't know. I don't know.
No,
Maybe it's the other way around.
you are growing by leaps and bounds. Every time you reach a new plateau, there's another plateau to be reached.
So you're going
Thank
for
you.
You're
it.
going for it.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
and
Thank
it's
you.
great.
That's very encouraging.
Yes, for sure.
Thank
So
you.
many folks, they get in that comfort zone and stop, and they stay there. But you're a living example that your comfort zone is to continue. Your comfort zone is coming. Keep moving.
Correct.
Keep moving.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just appreciate you. And it's like for Charles and I to do the things that we do successful, it is by the lights and people that we put and have around us. We're very intentional with that. And it's like people that are doing it. It's people that are doing it. It's like, again, just so past the part where we're just talking. I feel like we're called to action. I feel like we're in a time and space right now where we're
Yes.
called to action, and build it as you go. That's a thing that I see with you as well, because as much as you have your goals and, just things, but you're building as go and you're allowing the pieces to come. and you're not afraid to fall. And that's a big thing of, just coming out of that comfort zone and growing. You got to be unapologetic and
intentional in what you're doing.
Yes.
And love never fails.
exactly.
Amen to that.
As always, we thank you for just your time. It's non-refundable. We appreciate your yes. We thank our listeners for hanging in with us. Do check out Nick G. We're going to put those links in the narrative of this post. Be inspired, be activated to go out and create your own family legacy. Look at what it is that he's doing. Look at his story and use it to help you to grow. Use it as fertilizer to grow outside of whatever your comfort zone is. And if this episode resonated, we asked you to subscribe and share. And until next time, Charles and I will sign off with one love.
Never a second will I waste, never an opportunity to taste the sweetness of this life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Love Drops podcast. Be sure to follow this podcast and share the love with everyone you know. Until next time, this is Charles and Diane signing off. One love. One love.
Love it conquers all. Love never